Yohji,
Yeah.
can you remember when you first became interested in fashion?
I do remember after graduating from university, I took law, and after I decided not to become a businessman or lawyer, I asked my mother, "Can I help you?" Because she was doing a very tiny, small dressmaker for neighborhood, and she got angry because I was almost graduating the sort of famous law school. And she got angry, and then she told me, "If you really want to help me, you have to go to dressmaking school." And then I went to dressmaking school, and then the second or 3 degrees of the course, my elder classmate told me there is a business so-called fashion designer. Until then, I didn't know.
You grew up in Japan in kind of the immediate aftermath of the Second World War. How do you think that has influenced your creativity and your aesthetic?
As I was educated and grew up only son of war widow, I was naturally pushed to look the society through my mother. It means I looked society through women. It was my destiny.
You came to Paris and showed your first collection in 1981, and it was a huge contrast, not only to fashion in general, but quite specifically to Parisian fashion at that time, when you had people like Claude Montana and Thierry Mugler. When you came to Paris and showed your clothes, were you conscious that what you were doing was so incredibly different to the fashion that existed?
Not at all. I was just thinking to open tiny shop in Paris. That's it. I didn't know such a movement, such a wind was blowing. I just wanted to open the shop.
Can you talk a little bit about what the reaction was like when you showed in Paris?
Because I knew afterwards, because that moment there were so many stuck situation in fashion. So especially buyers were looking for new designer. I didn't know that. So after giving my opening show, so many buyers rushed to my Paris office, and my office's elevator was broken by the buyers. I was shocked. I really didn't understand what was going on.
I think today it's probably difficult for us to understand how kind of revolutionary it was at that time for someone to be showing something so different to fashion, and specifically to French high fashion at that time. I'm quite interested in the idea of your work being outside of fashion. You often talk about kind of timelessness in what you do, and hating this idea of change every season. I'm interested in how you yourself relate your work to fashion.
Fashion? If I have to say simply in just one word. I hate fashion.
I mean, would you ever describe yourself as a fashion designer?
Yeah, for a long time I was searching for the title for myself, but I could find simply I'm a dressmaker. That's it.
That's what Balenciaga called himself as
Yeah.
well. Sorry.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Oh,
I always said he was a
that's
good
nice.
dressmaker. If you think back to when you first started designing fashion, and what inspires you to carry on, are they the same? Do you design now for the same reason you originally started designing?
Oh. Maybe I changed in many ways because I got criticized so much, and every time I got criticized, I became stronger. So maybe I became like a monster.
So now do you think that what you're designing now is purer and is more because you've had to fight for what you want to do?
Yes. After working more than 30 years, it's quite hard to be pure. But luckily, I didn't walk the main road of fashion. I was always against something else. So as a number, my customer is minor, but luckily, I could keep myself pure, like boy.
Your most recent collection was inspired by the idea of rebellion, and you said after the show that we need young people's anger. But I think a lot of people see a lot of serenity in the work that you create. I'm wondering what motivates your work. Is anger a motivation? Is it kind of anger against the fashion system that's motivating what you're doing?
That's right, you're right.
Is there anything else, or is that kind of the main?
Oh, if I add one more thing, it's for a long time I have been keeping my taboo. Something like I hate high heel. I never bring Japanese tradition to my job. I had many taboos, but recently I decided I'm not caring about my taboo. I'm free. I can touch any idea. So after deciding this, I feel that I became a little bit stronger than when I was young.
It's interesting that you're talking about that because you talked about fighting fashion and the anger against fashion and also dealing with taboos and things like high heels, which are a symbol of fashion. But I'm really fascinated that you're so interested in the history of fashion, and that you refer to it quite a lot in your work. The exhibition where they contrasted your pieces with historical pieces that had inspired them. How important is the history of fashion to you?
Oh, when I think about Mr. Christian Dior himself, Madame Coco Chanel herself, when they were creating fashion, maybe they were creating and inventing and trying new idea, and maybe they were same as me. They were working anti-mode, because I find so many tricks in their work. Same spirit.
I'm wondering if it feels odd for you now to realize that your work, I mean, here we have a big, I don't say retrospective because I know you hate the word retrospective, but here we have a huge exhibition of pieces from your archives, and for lots of young designers, your work is part of fashion history. For them, it's a source of inspiration for so many, I want to say hundreds of young designers. Does that feel unusual to you? Is that difficult or unusual for you to deal with?
I really don't know. I really don't know. I would like to shout to young people, especially young designer or young student, simply be yourself. You're okay. And start copying which you love. Copy, 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 copy. And end of copy, you will find yourself.
How do you actually design a collection? That's a very wide question, I know.
Yeah.
But is there a system you go through? Is there a way that a collection starts for you?
It's a wide and difficult question. Actually, we have two types of fashion designer in the world. One type is real creator, and the another type is just stylist for big maison. So let's talk about real designer, real creator. When you are going to be, or you dreaming about to be creator, you have to decide that you going to sacrifice your life for the beauty. Long obedience in the same direction. You sacrifice. That's it.
So that's how it starts, sacrifice. Yeah. Is there, I'm interested in actually something we talked about earlier, which was you saying that your designs give you freedom. I'm interested in the freedom that in turn you give to your collaborators.
Freedom has so big responsibility. Heavy.
But I think it's interesting that you give freedom to people like Nick and Mark and Peter Saville. I mean, Peter actually was talking about creating something for you, and that he asked you what you wanted, and you said, "Surprise me."
Yeah, when I asked some creator, some artist to do something else, I shut my mouth. Please do it as you like. So sometimes my collection becomes out totally different world in a beautiful catalog. This is not me. It's Nick. And I like it.
It's nice to see your world interpreted by I'm interested, especially from someone like you who's worked for 30 years, what do you find most challenging about creating fashion?
Well, maybe this is our fault. I mean, fashion designers' fault. our fashion market became a mess. Now there are so many not fashion. It's a shitty clothing, just competing how cheap and how sexy, cheap and sexy, wasted. And young people they don't look like they have a doubt about it. I'm afraid of it. So real designer have to be more stronger.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you.
Yamamoto. Thank you.
Thank you.